So what was your feelings on Phil's comeback, if you want to call it that? Because obviously he had 1 year out.
Okay, let's see. Phil. He looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Care to elaborate or?
7 times Mr. Olympia. I think he has done his due diligence, and can't take anything away from that. You know, it's, you know, in my opinion, I think maybe needed more time. There's something was off. He was a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little bit smaller, and I think he was missing that pop. You know, that Phil has a certain pop about him. Like, you know, it's Phil. Like when he has that. I mean, he has everything else. He had the swag. He had the same demeanor. But I think, you know, he was missing that killer pop that, you know, when he walks out and
the 3D.
He was missing that 3D look.
Yeah. He was in good condition though, wasn't he? Very good condition. Everything was sharp. Everything was tight. It was like, but like you said, we're always comparing him to those 2011, 2012, 2013.
That's the hard part, you know. It's you're only as good as your last show, and I think that, you know, people remember that, you know, and you know, for 7 times Mr. Olympia, I think we even, you know, looking great, we go back and we like, but the Phil off such as the Phil of 2012 was. But the Phil of 2011, you know, we have that in mind because that's what we expect, you know, from any champion. It's like watching Michael Jordan, you know, and Michael Jordan left the Bulls and went to Washington to play. We were like, it's not the same Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, it's missing that. As you said, he was missing, in my opinion, that 3D, you know, pop about it. But I mean, his condition was on point.
Yeah.
You know, it's smaller and. For me, I'm never going to take anything away from, you know, an athlete because I know how hard we all work to get on stage, and I know the time that we put in, and we all have that one goal, you know, is to be the best in that day.
Yeah.
And sometimes we miss that mark, and you know, me in 2017, I missed that mark.
Yeah.
It wasn't by much, but I missed that mark by a little.
Yeah.
And you know, you just said, okay, you know, I can be better. You know, I just feel as if Phil doesn't really have anything to prove to anyone. He's, you know, 7 times Mr. Olympia. You know, how many people could say that?
See, I said this, I had Samir Banu on the show last week, and when he was talking about, you know, I could have won more, I should have won more, I was robbed. And I said, yeah, but mate, I says, you're one of, like yourself, you're one of only 16 men in the last 56 years that has. Well, actually, it's not even the 16 people that have a standout because the first one was in 77. So, however many since Frank Zane have got a standout to let alone call themselves Mr. Olympia, you know, and like, you know, you've got one, Samir had one, Phil's got 7. You know, that is something that will never be taken away from you. And when we talk about Ronnie Coleman, we don't say, oh, that was Ronnie Coleman that got 4th place at the 2007 Olympia. We say, there's the 8-time Mr. Olympia. You know, you will always be Mr. Olympia, Sean. Just like Phil.
I told people, listen, whether I won one Mr. Olympia or 10 Mr. Olympia, I'm freaking Mr. Olympia.
Exactly. It's like exactly my point.
It's like, I don't care what the number is in front of it, 1 or 10.
Number 14.
You know, exactly. Like, you know, I am always will be Mr. Olympia.
Always.
That's like, you know, all the guys in the history of this sport that has never qualified for the Olympia. And then you look at all the guys that qualified for the Olympia but never made it to the Olympia stage.
Correct.
And then you said all the guys that qualified for the Olympia made it to the Olympia stage but never made it past 16 for years. And then you look at a handful of guys that went to the Olympia and was in the top 5. Any one of those guys that made the top 5, well, the top 4 out of 5 that never actually had a title, could have been Mr. Olympia. And then you looked at the few guys, the 16 or
yep.
16 guys that could call themselves Mr. Olympia.
Hmm.
You'd be an idiot to, let me rephrase that. It would be unwise for you to tell yourself that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I could have, would have, I should have. At the end of the day, you're like, you've accomplished something that only a few of us can say that we have.
Bingo.
There are guys out there that's still trying to this day, like, just want to make the top 10.
Yeah.